It is easy to guess, even if you don't have the information, that there's way too much happening at the moment in Kenyan politics behind the scenes. Okay, and clear evidence of that is what happened yesterday. There was an Azimio parliamentary group meeting, and we were promised by Azimio that there was a very, very major announcement Azimio were going to make after that parliamentary group meeting. I mean, Azimio were going to release a bombshell after that parliamentary group meeting. But what happened? What happened? Yesterday there was so much confusion. People are scrambling around for the news. What is this bombshell that came from Azimio? Nothing actually. Yeah, or so it seemed. But actually, yesterday was major. It is only that it was not something to read directly. And I have good reason to believe that this was very deliberate. Part of a strategic move by Azimio. Okay, so let's break it down. Now I'm sure most of us already know, we heard, that the deadline was midnight after that Azimio parliamentary group meeting. That's what we were told. And then after that deadline expires, we were not told what Azimio are going to do. So people are guessing maandamano. Yeah, back to the streets. That is what everybody is guessing. However, there is a hidden card, a devastating card, which I want to mention. Okay, so brace yourselves. Today, Wednesday, another deadline expires. And this deadline is the one holding that deadly card. Raila Odinga told us that when this deadline of today expires, wait for this one, Azimio will write to the United Nations, formally requesting self-determination. Bila kizungu mingi, secession, inji igawe. What? Now this needs a bit of digesting, which we're going to do in a moment. But first allow me a few seconds, to fulfill a promise I made to all of you recently, to assist each other during these very hard times the country called Kenya is entering. And in doing this, I want also to assist all of us at the same time. And so here's a very hot tip to survive these very difficult times. Now, I don't know if you know this, but stress, extreme stress, affects your digestive system. Now, the digestive system is extremely important in a human being. Okay? And when something small, even very small, goes wrong in your digestive system, you are already in grave danger. That is the truth. Now, I know most of us were brought up, ni shida kidogo ya tumbo. No, there's nothing like that. Your digestive system is key. Now, the problem with this very stressful period we're passing through as Kenyans is that when stress increases, it definitely impacts your digestive system, which can lead to so many different problems. So I urge you today to ensure and to take steps to ensure that your digestive system remains healthy, even as we try to deal with the stress we're all facing every day. Standard of living ambayo hatuwezi. Nobody can manage it, really. And yet the same government is continuing to increase prices. Finance bill comes to mind, ambayo wanasema lazima ipitishe upende usipende, which of course Azimio was opposed. Now, one of the ways of ensuring that your digestive system is working perfectly is to do regular detox, clean up your system, okay? Which of course is highly recommended with all the stress you're passing through. In my view, it doesn't even matter if you're feeling great right now, you're feeling okay. Yeah, I believe it is still important to detox. Now, one of us on this channel, they've been here for years, have a great product that has helped many people. I believe you can see details on your screens right now, complete with this telephone number. Yeah. If you believe what I've said makes sense, then I highly recommend that you send him an SMS or even call him, yeah, and get more details. He is an expert in this area, yeah, and I trust him. And my apologies in advance if I've sounded very alarming. Sipendi kushtua watu. But you see, these manenos are very close to my heart, this digestive system, yeah, because that is where the whole problem started with my late departed wife. Anyway, let us proceed. Now, if you've been taking careful note of what Azimio have been doing, their strategy, you will notice that they've always stayed one step ahead of the UDA. They have always done the unexpected. Yeah, and this is a trademark of a politician called Raila Odinga, whom young people don't understand, and they're not interested in understanding. But in my view, any analyst, and even a person who is in politics or intends to go into politics, Raila Odinga is a perfect case study, a very useful case study to do kama unataka kwenda mbali. Let me just recap and remind you what has happened. When Azimio first called for the maandamano, UDA were relaxed. The Ruto administration were relaxed. That can't be a major issue. We're going to deal with it. After the first maandamano, only the first one, the UDA government was in panic mode. Another example, at another stage of the maandamano, the government decided to meet the peaceful protesters with brutality. But Azimio seemed to have been aware, and I believe that is what saved lives. Okay, things were still bad, but it came out very clearly which side was violent. Indeed, the whole world saw it. Always one step ahead. The strategy of Raila Odinga has always been to produce a hidden card from under the table at the very last minute, which catches his opponents completely unawares. Okay? So now here we are. The deadline expired midnight, a few hours ago. And everybody is anticipating, waiting to see what the next Azimio move is. Okay? And I'm sure the Ruto government is busy preparing for maandamano. However, what is this other card? This other card is secession. A devastating political card that the government has no answer to. Because you see, you can't rule people by force. If people stand up today and tell you, we don't want you to rule us, you tell me what you'll do. Tell me, maybe I don't know. Will you use brute force? Rule them by force? In a country with a constitution? And so, let's keep a very close eye on the details of this letter that is to be written to the United Nations any moment starting from now, to speak about self-determination. And this is happening on the eve of the notorious, much talked about, has caused so much widespread fear in Kenya, the Finance Bill 2023. A bill that, if passed, bila kizungu mingi, will completely change and revolutionize life in the country called Kenya in a way it has never ever been done before. Negatively. Okay? Increased price of fuel, which means increased prices of virtually everything else. More deductions from workers by force. Yeah. The housing levy, where theoretically Kenyans are being forced to have houses they own themselves. Upende uspende, you must have a house. Okay? Which may be a good thing on the surface. But then, we know the history of Kenya. NSSF, what has happened there? Massive looting. In the same finance bill, those Kenyans who are lucky enough to own a vehicle will now have to pay tax for every individual seat, etc., etc. It is just a horror story. Okay? And that one is down the table. From next week, there will be efforts kupitisha haraka haraka. Yeah, even as so many Kenyans have fallen out with the UDA government over this issue. Yeah, because there's widespread public outcry against it. People don't want it. So in this kind of environment, Azimio are writing to the UN requesting for self-determination. You can see why kimeumana kuumana for the Ruto administration. In my opinion, there is no way you come back from something like this. I need to be educated. Or maybe I'll be surprised. Yeah, I'll be shown something I don't know. Which of course is possible. There are a lot of things I don't know. But let us wait and see. Because the truth of the matter is that the situation is very dire. The situation is in a crisis point for the Ruto administration. Because when a government does something where there's so much public outcry and it continues to push forward with so much force, yeah, forcing things down the throats of Kenyans, then it is very predictable what will happen. The people will just say no. And even if you pass the bill, enforcing it could be an issue. Okay? But let us also be fair to the government and look at this from the other side. If the finance bill is not passed, then guess what will happen? This government will ground to a screeching halt financially. Because what has happened is that we're in a situation where the government has run out of money. That's really what it is. And it is very urgent that this Finance Bill 2023 is passed so that the government can get a lifeline, not something to save it, a lifeline to survive financially. That is really what it is. And that is why the government is pushing so hard. That is why the government can't stop. Because it has got no other option. So I ask, kimeumana ama akijaumana? Because on one side is we the public. We are feeling the strain economically. We can't take it anymore. Punda imechoka. On the other side is a government struggling to get money. So in that context, who will win in the end? And even if we have a winner, what are the consequences going to be? Not good, my friends. Not good. Whichever side wins. Because if the government is forced to drop the finance bill, I don't see them doing it. But let's say if it is defeated in parliament, yeah, because of pressure on politicians from the public, yeah, those who want a political future, that is. If that bill is defeated, then we must prepare for a government that is flat broke. Government services not working. And other consequences I don't even want to think about. Okay? And if the bill goes through and the Ruto administration is successful, it will be a situation where Kenyans, because I'm convinced this government has no idea what ordinary Kenyans are going through. Yeah, they're just seated there in their comfortable air-conditioned offices. They don't really know what is going on the ground. Or if they know, they don't care. If this bill is passed, then what will happen is that the Kenyan people will have been pushed into a corner. You don't want to ever do that to your voters. You don't want to ever do that to the people you rule. Never ever. Even if you're a strong military government with no democracy. You don't want to do that. But that is going to be exactly the situation, which will pave way for the people of Kenya to bring the country to a standstill. So the finance bill passes, the country will be at a standstill. The finance bill fails to pass, the country will still be at a standstill. How do we get out of this one? How? It seems that there's no way out. Oh God Almighty, remember mercy for the nation called Kenya. Allow me to give you a heads up. Weekly Intelligence Briefings number 108 is out. And I can't even describe it. Moto kuliko pasi ya makaa. It is beyond that. Okay? In this particular issue of WIB, I cover a highly sensitive topic. Political assassinations. Okay? And there's one unfolding in our country right now, believe it or not. Find out in my latest WIB. You can see the details on your screens right now. Take advantage of this very latest special offer. It is also super fascinating that this latest effort, kumaliza kabisa, is very similar to yet another political assassination that happened some time back, that of Mutula Kilonzo Sr. Okay, those who have taken in my ebook on that topic, very comprehensive, describing the most high-tech political assassination in the history of Kenya, that of Mutula Kilonzo Sr., will know what I mean. By the way, you can get hold of that ebook. Details on your screens, in case you've not seen it, because I refer to it in WIB number 108. And it might not be very easy for you to understand even the trends that have been unfolding in our country since 2013. It might not be easy for you to understand and put everything together without the information from this ebook that I did in 2013. Until next time, this is Kshs, Kumekucha.